Hey friends, welcome to tonight's relaxing philosophy for sleep. This slow-spoken bedtime gentle narration is designed to help you unwind, clear your mind, and drift into a peaceful night's rest. Imagine the calm of a vast, peaceful ocean. Waves of quiet thoughts lap at the shore and the air is crisp with the scent of salt water. But as much as you'd like to stay there in the stillness, life seems to pull you into its current. Pressures, distractions, and racing thoughts. Here's the thing: Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of resilience, might just be the most perfect guide for your weary mind. You probably never realized philosophy could lull you to sleep so peacefully, right? Well, tonight, that's what we're going to explore together. Stoicism teaches us how to breathe through chaos, accept what we can't control, and ultimately find serenity. It's the perfect antidote to the busy, restless mind that keeps you tossing and turning at night. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And feel free to let me know where you're tuning in from tonight and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's always fun to hear where everyone is, and it's nice to feel like we're sharing this journey together. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Imagine just for a moment a world where you could find peace no matter what was going on around you. The hustle, the worries, the endless obligations, they could all be ignored or minimized. This may sound impossible, but it's a reality that Stoic philosophy suggests is within reach. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, believed that the only true control we have in life is how we respond to things. Everything else, what happens at work, what people say to us, even the weather, is outside of our grasp. The Stoics had a powerful way of viewing the world that helps us realize that most of what disturbs us isn't actually within our control. The ancient wisdom goes like this: you cannot control the events, but you can control your response. It's a soothing thought, don't you think? Tonight, as you begin to close your eyes, think of this as your invitation to let go of whatever you've been carrying. Stoicism teaches us that peace is a choice, not a consequence of external circumstances. Now let's dive into this idea a little deeper. Picture yourself lying in bed right now, feeling the weight of your body pressing gently into the mattress. You've got a long list of things you're thinking about. Maybe it's your work, a conversation you had, or an event tomorrow that's making you anxious. These thoughts are like waves crashing against a rock, creating noise, agitation, and tension. Stoic philosophy, though, suggests something simple: don't fight the waves. Let them be. The Stoics would advise you to accept the fact that your mind is busy and that it's okay. The storm will pass. You just need to stop trying to control it. Allow yourself to accept whatever thoughts are floating by without attaching to them. You can think about the world tomorrow, but for now, let that world be somewhere else. For tonight, the only reality you need is the one you're in: your bed, the softness of the blankets, and the slow rhythm of your breath. One of the key Stoic practices that helps bring about this peace is called negative visualization. It's not as gloomy as it sounds. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The practice involves imagining, in vivid detail, the worst-case scenario of something you're worried about, whether it's a big presentation or a difficult conversation. Then, after seeing the worst outcome in your mind, you gently bring yourself back to the present moment and realize something important. It's not as bad as you thought. By visualizing the worst, you start to realize that even if things don't go perfectly, you'll still be okay. In fact, most of the time, the worst-case scenario is nowhere near as bad as we imagine it to be. So, tonight, before you close your eyes, let's try this. Think of a small worry you have, one that's been sitting in the back of your mind, something you might have been dragging with you today. Now picture it. What's the worst thing that could happen? Imagine it clearly, in your mind, and then sit with that image for a moment. Now here's the trick. After you've seen the worst, take a deep breath and release it. It's over. The worst didn't happen, and whatever is left is just the calm, soothing present. No need to carry the weight of the world. You're okay. You might find it hard to release all those worries right away, and that's okay. The Stoics were not perfect. They didn't wake up every day in a state of complete peace. The goal wasn't perfection, but progress. Every time you let go of something that's not in your control, you free up space for something better, like a peaceful mind, the stillness of the night, and the gentle embrace of sleep. Here's a quirky thought. The Stoics didn't just embrace peace as a passive thing. They didn't sit in their little Roman villas waiting for tranquility to come to them. No, they actively sought it out. And one of their tools for this was contemplation. This wasn't some grand, mystical form of meditation like we think of today. It was just the act of stepping back and observing the world from a distance. It's like when you look at the sky and realize that, from up there, everything looks tiny and insignificant. Your worries, in the grand scheme, aren't as important as you might think. The Stoics knew that by stepping outside of their own little bubble of thoughts, they could get a clearer perspective, a wider view that wasn't so tightly wrapped in anxiety. Now let's talk about something a bit more lighthearted. Did you know the ancient Greeks had an ongoing debate about the nature of happiness? Philosophers like Aristotle argued that happiness came from living a life of virtue and purpose, while others, like Epictetus, said that it came from simple pleasures, like a warm bath, good food, or in your case, a comfortable bed. It's a fun little paradox. The more you search for happiness, the harder it is to find. It's a bit like sleep. You can't force it. But when you stop chasing it, and instead create the right conditions, it naturally comes. Tonight, let your sleep be like that. Let it come when it's ready, and don't worry about when it will. Give yourself permission to relax, knowing that it will arrive in its own time. Philosophers still argue about whether happiness is something we achieve or something we allow to happen. But tonight, we can rest on the idea that a peaceful mind is within your reach if you're willing to let go of the things that weigh you down. So, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and let this philosophy sink in. Let the waves of your thoughts pass by. You've done enough for today. Rest now knowing you've embraced the calm, not by fighting the chaos, but by letting it flow around you. In the end, that's the secret of Stoicism, and the secret to peaceful sleep. Tonight, let's talk about breathing. It might sound simple, even too simple, but here's the thing. Breathing is one of the most powerful tools we have for calming both the body and mind. It's like a little switch you can flick to help you detach from all the busyness of the day. You're lying in bed right now, aren't you? Try this. Take a deep breath, slowly in through your nose. Hold it for just a second, and then exhale gently through your mouth. Feels good, right? It's amazing how something so basic, just breathing, can bring you back to the present moment. Slow your heart rate and ease the tension in your muscles. This is the essence of mindful breathing, a technique that has been practiced for thousands of years in traditions like Buddhism, yoga, and even by philosophers like the Stoics. They understood that our breath is a direct link to our state of mind. The ancient Stoics, in particular, were masters at finding peace within themselves, even amidst external chaos. Epictetus, one of the central Stoic figures, often encouraged his followers to focus on their breath to regain clarity and control. Think about it. When you breathe mindfully, you're not just taking in air, you're creating space. You create space between your thoughts, which is something we often struggle with in the whirlwind of modern life. In that space, your mind can settle like dust settling at the bottom of a glass of water. This is what we're aiming for tonight. A clear, quiet mind, where everything unnecessary falls away, leaving just the stillness of your breath. Take another deep breath now. Let it fill your lungs completely. As you breathe in, imagine pulling in all the calming energy you need. When you exhale, let go of the clutter in your mind, the worries about tomorrow, the thoughts about the past, and even the feelings of restlessness in your body. That's the power of mindful breathing. It's an act of releasing and renewing all at once. And the beauty of it? It's always with you. Wherever you go, no matter the circumstances, your breath is there, patiently waiting to bring you back to center. It's not about controlling your thoughts or stopping them. It's simply about stepping away from them for a moment. As you breathe deeply, your thoughts may still come, but with each breath you create just a little more space for them to fade into the background. It's like pushing the noise of the world to the side, giving yourself permission to be at peace. Here's something interesting to think about. In traditional Chinese medicine, breath is considered the bridge between the body and mind. When we breathe deeply, we're not only calming our minds, but also bringing balance to our entire body. The breath works as a reset, an automatic function that both stabilizes and nurtures us. Yet we often take it for granted. In Western medicine, studies have shown that breathing techniques can lower heart rate, reduce stress hormones, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your body responsible for calming you down. Your mind, your body. Everything slows down when you give yourself permission to breathe deeply. This is why breathwork is so powerful when it comes to falling asleep. The simple act of focusing on your breathing helps signal to your body that it's time to unwind, that the stress of the day is over, and that your body is safe and ready for rest. But of course, it's not always as easy as it sounds. If you're used to rushing through your days, with thoughts constantly ping-ponging from one task to the next, it can be tough to sit still and focus on something as simple as breathing. Here's where you might need a bit of extra practice. Think of your mind like a crowded street. Too many cars, too much noise, and nothing's moving. Breathing mindfully is like stepping off that busy street into a quiet alley where you can just breathe. Each time you take a deep breath, you're moving further down that alley, away from the noise and into the calm. You might find your thoughts returning to the chaos of the day, and that's okay. It's perfectly normal. The trick is not to get frustrated. Just gently bring your attention back to your breath. You can even count the breaths if that helps. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. This simple counting exercise gives your mind a focus, a gentle guide to follow, so it doesn't wander back to the stress and worries. The Stoics were very familiar with the idea of self-discipline, controlling one's reactions and emotions even when circumstances are beyond your control. In many ways, focusing on your breath is an exercise in that exact practice. It's an act of reclaiming your power in a world that often feels like it's spinning out of control. Now let's get a little quirky with this idea of breath. Have you ever heard of the 4-7-8 breathing technique? It's a trick used by sleep experts to help people fall asleep faster, and it's rooted in ancient traditions of breath control. The method goes like this. Breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 7, and exhale for 8. Sounds simple, right? But the science behind it is fascinating. The extended exhalation, in particular, sends a signal to your body that it's time to relax, bringing down your heart rate and preparing your body for sleep. It's as if your body's natural rhythm is saying, okay, we're winding down now. Let's stop the chaos and take a break. The 4-7-8 technique has become quite popular because it works by activating the parasympathetic nervous system, just like the mindful breathing we talked about earlier. So let's give it a try. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold it for 7. Exhale slowly for 8. As you do this, feel the calmness begin to wash over you, like a gentle wave erasing the tension of your day. You may notice your mind becoming clearer, your heart slowing down, and your body sinking deeper into relaxation. Keep going at your own pace and just let each breath take you deeper into the present moment. Breathing isn't just about relaxation, it's also about mindfulness. This is where it gets really interesting. Have you ever noticed how, when you're stressed or anxious, your breath gets shallow and quick? That's your body's natural response to stress. When you're calm and at peace, your breathing slows down and deepens. The mind and body are inextricably linked, and when you can control one, the other follows. As you focus on your breathing tonight, keep this idea in mind. You are taking control, not just of your breath, but of your body's response to the world around you. Every deep breath you take is a declaration of peace. You're telling your body, it's okay, we're safe, we can rest now. It's a quiet act of self-care, something so simple yet so incredibly powerful. And with each breath you begin to let go of the mental clutter. Each inhale fills you with fresh energy. Each exhale releases tension, until you're left with nothing but the gentle rhythm of your breath. If you do this long enough, you'll find that sleep has already started to sneak up on you. No need to chase it. Just let go, breathe deeply, and let it come naturally. Let's talk about something that tends to keep a lot of people awake at night. Worrying. We all do it, don't we? It's as if our minds are trained to spin in circles around the things that could go wrong, the mistakes we might have made, and the things we haven't even started yet. But here's the reality check. Worrying is an absolute waste of energy. It's like carrying a heavy backpack full of rocks, but instead of going anywhere, you're just standing still. That weight, that mental load, does nothing but tire you out. The Stoics had a brilliant perspective on this, one that's incredibly helpful when it comes to finding peace before sleep. The core idea is this: we cannot control the future. No matter how much we obsess over it, the future remains beyond our reach. You can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow, let alone control it. So why spend your time and energy trying to? Instead, Stoics like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius suggested focusing on what we can control: our actions, our thoughts, and how we choose to respond to the things that come our way. If we can train our minds to let go of the illusion of control over the future, we free ourselves from the burden of constant worry. Think of it this way. When you let go of that mental baggage, you create space in your mind for peace. Tonight, as you lie here, think about that. What's one worry you've been carrying? Something you keep thinking about, that you have no control over? Just pause for a moment. Give yourself permission to let it go. Imagine that worry floating away like a balloon in the sky. You're free of it now. It no longer has a hold on you. Worrying doesn't just waste energy, it also takes away from the present moment. And isn't that what we need to fall asleep? Peace in the present. Your body is here, lying on the bed, and yet your mind might be somewhere else entirely. It's racing ahead to tomorrow's meetings, next week's deadlines, or the endless list of things you still need to do. But as you breathe, as you focus on this moment, you start to realize that all of those things can wait. Right now, there is no need for you to worry about the future. It will come, whether you anticipate it or not. And in the meantime, you have the power to decide how you'll experience the present. This is where mindfulness really comes into play. It's about pulling yourself out of that endless cycle of what-ifs and back into the here and now. Take a moment to feel the sheets around you, the cool air brushing your skin, the soft rhythm of your breath. You're safe here. The world can wait. Here's something a bit quirky to think about. The ancient Greeks had a word for the type of worrying we're talking about. It's called akrasia, the state of acting against your better judgment. It's that feeling when you know you shouldn't be worrying, yet you can't seem to stop yourself. It's almost like a self-sabotage. The Stoics would argue that we're caught in this cycle of worrying because we're attaching too much value to things outside of our control. We create this mental loop where we think worrying will somehow help us prepare for the future, but in reality it only holds us back. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is exactly what we're working toward. The ability to step outside the mental loop, to put down the backpack full of worries and just be. Think about how much easier it would be to fall asleep if we didn't carry those mental weights. Instead of clutching onto those worries, we could simply rest in the peace of knowing that, for tonight, everything is as it should be. Philosophers still argue about whether worry is a natural part of the human condition or something we can truly eliminate with practice. Some say it's simply a byproduct of our survival instincts. After all, worry keeps us alert, ready for any threat. But here's the kicker. In the modern world, we don't need to worry about survival the same way our ancestors did. Most of the things that cause us stress, our jobs, our relationships, our obligations, don't require us to be on high alert all the time. So why do we still feel like we need to worry? The Stoics would tell us that it's because we've become addicted to the idea that we must control everything. But what if the truth is simpler? What if we could just let go, trust the process, and know that in the end we'll handle whatever comes our way? It's not about denying the challenges of life. but accepting that the only thing we have control over is our own response. And so as you lie here, close your eyes and let that thought settle in. You don't need to worry right now. Everything you're carrying in your mind is just a temporary thought. It's not permanent. Your mind, like the sky, is ever-changing. Just as clouds drift away, so too can your worries. It's not about forcing yourself to stop worrying, because that only creates more tension. It's about gently stepping back and allowing the worries to be there without giving them any more power. Your mind will still be active, but now it has a choice. Will it hold on to these worries, or will it let them go, even for just a few moments? The answer is up to you. And right now, as you breathe deeply, let's choose to let go. The act of letting go of worries isn't a one-time event. It's something that takes practice, especially for those of us who are used to carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders. But tonight, you've already begun the process. Each time you let go of a worry, no matter how small, you're making space for more peace, more sleep, and more clarity in your life. So as you continue to relax, think about those worries again. Let them rise up in your mind, but this time, notice something different. As soon as they arrive, give yourself permission to let them float away, to let go without guilt or resistance. This is your time. This is your moment to rest. You don't need to worry about tomorrow. You've done enough today. Now, let sleep take over, knowing that you're free from the weight of your thoughts. Let's dive into something that most people don't realize plays a huge role in how easily we can drift off to sleep. Meditation. Now, before you roll your eyes or think this is just some woo-woo practice, hear me out. Meditation isn't some mystical ritual that requires sitting cross-legged for hours. It's far simpler than that, and it's something you can do right now, even as you're lying comfortably in bed. The idea behind meditation is all about training your mind to focus and let go of distractions. We often think of the mind as a chaotic, untamable beast, filled with non-stop thoughts and worries. But meditation teaches us that we can calm the storm within. Imagine your mind is like the surface of a lake. Normally, the surface is all ruffled with waves, thoughts, emotions, stress, everything bouncing around. Meditation, especially just before bed, is like dropping a stone into that lake, creating ripples that slowly calm the waters. It helps you clear away all those racing thoughts, allowing you to create space for a peaceful sleep. The cool thing is that meditation is not just about relaxation. It actually has physical effects on your brain. When you meditate, studies show that your brain shifts from the active, thinking state to a calm, resting state. It's like pressing a mental reset button. So, while the mind calms, the body follows suit. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure lowers, and you start to feel lighter. And it's these physical changes that make meditation such a powerful tool for sleep. But here's the kicker. You don't need to be a meditation expert to get the benefits. In fact, just a few minutes of mindful breathing and focused attention can send you into a relaxed state that makes falling asleep easier. Now you might wonder, how does this work on a deeper level? Why does meditation have such a profound effect on sleep? To answer that, let's look at the science of it. When you meditate, especially using techniques like deep breathing or guided imagery, you activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that's responsible for rest and relaxation. This system is often referred to as the rest and digest system because it slows down your heart rate, reduces stress hormones like cortisol, and signals to your body that it's time to rest. This is exactly what you need before falling asleep. Think of it like this. When you're stressed, your sympathetic nervous system takes over, preparing you to fight or flee from a danger. That's not very conducive to sleep, right? But when you meditate, you're essentially flipping the switch to rest mode, telling your body that it's safe, that there's nothing to worry about. It's this calming effect that prepares both your mind and body to ease into sleep. So, the next time you find yourself tossing and turning, consider taking a few minutes to meditate. Focus on your breath. Gently inhale through your nose and exhale slowly. With each breath, feel your body becoming more relaxed, more peaceful. Don't try to control your thoughts or force them away. Just let them pass by like clouds in the sky. This practice of mindful observation is one of the most powerful ways to guide yourself into sleep. Here's a quirky tidbit to think about. While meditation has been practiced for thousands of years, it's only recently that scientists have discovered its impact on the brain. The famous neuroscientist Richard Davidson, known for his research on the brain's emotional circuitry, found that meditation literally changes the structure of your brain. People who meditate regularly have thicker areas in the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for focus and decision-making. So, in addition to its calming benefits, meditation also makes you more resilient, more focused, and better able to handle stress. But what's even more fascinating is that regular meditation has been shown to increase the amount of gray matter in the brain, especially in areas linked to memory, emotion regulation, and sleep. This means that meditation doesn't just make you more relaxed in the moment, it actually trains your brain to be more resilient in the long run. Over time, as you practice meditation, you'll find that the benefits snowball. It's like any skill. The more you do it, the easier it gets, and the more natural it becomes to enter a state of calm when you need it most. Philosophers still argue about the exact connection between meditation and sleep, especially when it comes to the quality of rest. Some believe that sleep is simply a passive state that happens when we stop thinking, but others, like the Stoics, argue that true rest comes from a place of mindful awareness. According to the Stoics, sleep isn't just about turning off your brain. It's about turning on a deeper awareness that lets you truly relax. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, suggests that we should approach sleep with the same mindfulness that we bring to other aspects of life. Instead of fighting to fall asleep, he recommends letting go of everything: thoughts, worries, even the need to control sleep itself. In this sense, meditation becomes a bridge between wakefulness and sleep. It's a practice of surrender, of accepting that you don't have to control everything, and that in letting go, you actually find the peace you're seeking. Here's a simple meditation trick you can try tonight before sleep. First, get comfortable in your bed, lie flat on your back, and gently close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, then exhale through your mouth. Now, bring your attention to your feet. Notice how they feel. Are they tense, relaxed, warm, or cool? Don't judge, just observe. Then, move your attention slowly up your body, to your legs, hips, stomach, chest, arms, neck, and finally, your head. As you focus on each part of your body, allow it to relax. If you notice tension anywhere, gently breathe into it, and with each exhale, release that tension. This is a simple body scan technique, and it's incredibly effective for preparing your body for sleep. You can also try counting your breaths. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. This counting exercise will not only help you focus, but it will also activate that calming parasympathetic nervous system we talked about earlier. As you do this, remember that the goal isn't to achieve perfect meditation or force yourself into sleep. It's simply to create the conditions for rest. Just as a musician doesn't try to force the music out, you shouldn't try to force sleep. Allow it to come naturally at its own pace as you continue your mindful breathing and relaxing meditation. Let go of your worries. Let go of your need to control and just be present in the quiet, peaceful moment. Meditation, like sleep, is something that cannot be rushed. It unfolds in its own time. With practice, you'll find that this peaceful state becomes easier to enter, night after night, and that falling asleep becomes a more effortless process. So, as you breathe deeply tonight, let the calm wash over you, knowing that you are preparing, not just for sleep, but for true rest, rejuvenation, and peace. Tonight, let's talk about something that might sound strange at first: loving whatever happens. It's a concept that comes from a Stoic idea called amor fati, which, in Latin, means love of fate. Now, when most people hear about this, they think it sounds a bit too idealistic or perhaps even counterintuitive. Why should we love everything that happens, especially the tough, painful moments? Surely, some events deserve frustration, anger, or even despair, right? Here's the thing. The Stoics would argue that the answer is yes and no. They didn't mean you should love the bad stuff in the sense of being cheerful or happy about it. Instead, amor fati is about acceptance, surrender, and embracing life for what it is, without trying to control or resist it. Think about the times when things haven't gone the way you planned. Maybe it was a stressful day at work, an argument with a loved one, or even something as simple as a flat tire on your way somewhere important. In those moments, what do? We resist. We get upset, frustrated, and sometimes even angry at the world, believing that these things shouldn't happen to us. But the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, would ask us to reconsider. They would say that rather than resisting what's happening, we should embrace it as a part of life. After all, if we truly believe that we can control every single outcome, we'll be constantly disappointed. Life is messy, unpredictable, and filled with surprises, and that's what makes it real. When you allow yourself to love the journey, even with its bumps and detours, you free yourself from the constant tug of war between what is and what you think should be. Tonight, as you lie in bed, think about this for a moment. Is there something you're resisting right now? Maybe it's something small, like a nagging thought, or maybe it's something bigger, like a worry about the future or an unresolved issue in your life. Whatever it is, try to soften your grip on it just for tonight. Let it be. Accept it. It's part of your journey, just as the peaceful moments are. By embracing amor fati, you begin to realize that every moment, every situation, and every experience, whether it's good or bad, contributes to your growth and understanding. Stoics believe that all things happen for a reason, even if we don't always see the reason right away. The person who practices amor fati looks at life's challenges not as setbacks, but as opportunities for growth. Think about it like this. When you embrace what's happening, without pushing against it, you stop seeing life's difficulties as personal attacks. They're just parts of the bigger picture, pieces of the puzzle that help you become who you're meant to be. This doesn't mean that you won't feel discomfort, sadness, or frustration when things go wrong, but it does mean that you'll be able to face those feelings with greater peace. You'll understand that everything, even the difficult moments, has value in the grand scheme of things, and that, in itself, is a huge weight off your shoulders. Instead of resisting, you accept. Instead of fighting, you flow. Now let's take this idea into the realm of sleep. So many of us have trouble falling asleep because we're resisting it. We tell ourselves that we should be asleep by now, that we've been lying here for too long, that we need to get some rest in order to function tomorrow. But by focusing on the pressure to fall asleep, we end up making it even harder for ourselves. So here's a quirky thought. What if we applied amor fati to our sleep? What if, instead of fighting the process, we love the fact that we're resting regardless of whether we're actually asleep or not? There's no need to force sleep. Just like any other part of life, sleep comes when it's ready. You don't have to chase it. Instead of trying to make sleep happen, simply embrace the fact that you are lying in bed, safe, comfortable, and taking care of your body. There's no need to rush, no need to control. Just be with the process. And in that acceptance, sleep will naturally find its way to you. You'll stop trying to force it and let it unfold, just as it was always meant to. This acceptance of what is, loving the fact that life unfolds as it does, even when it's imperfect, is a freeing thought, isn't it? And the same idea applies to your thoughts tonight. As you lie here, your mind may be racing, full of worries and ideas. It's easy to get frustrated when this happens, to try to force yourself into stillness, to demand that your thoughts stop so you can fall asleep. But what if, instead of fighting them, you simply let them come and go? Let them be like clouds, passing through the sky. They are thoughts, nothing more, and just like the weather, they will shift and the sky will clear. When you embrace your thoughts without judgment, when you let them be what they are, they no longer have the same power over you. You begin to feel more in control, not because you've conquered your thoughts, but because you've accepted them as they are. This is the essence of amor fati, loving what is in its fullest form without trying to change it. Philosophers still debate whether this form of acceptance is a true path to peace. Some argue that amor fati is simply a way to avoid facing reality, while others see it as a profound practice of radical acceptance and growth. But whether you see it as a spiritual path or a practical tool, there's no denying the sense of calm that comes from embracing life's imperfections. When you stop resisting, you stop fighting against the current, and that's when you can finally relax. And tonight, as you lie in bed, this is exactly what you can do. Embrace the stillness. Accept the thoughts that come, the feelings that arise, and the fact that you are here now, safe and sound. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to change anything. All you need to do is be. And in that being, you'll find peace, rest, and yes, even sleep. Amor fati isn't just about accepting the good things in life. It's about embracing the entire journey, with all its ups and downs. When you begin to love everything that comes your way, you free yourself from the cycle of constant expectation and disappointment. You become more at peace with the present, and in turn, sleep becomes a natural companion, not something you have to chase. So, tonight, let yourself go. Love whatever comes. Relax in the flow of life, and trust that sleep will meet you when it's time. Let's shift our focus for a moment away from thoughts and philosophies and look at the physical space around you. Have you ever thought about how your environment affects your sleep? Your bedroom, the place where you rest, is far more important than we usually give it credit for. It's not just about the comfort of your mattress or the softness of your sheets, although those certainly help. It's also about the overall atmosphere, the energy of the space you're in. The ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle once said, "The energy of the universe is in everything around us." What he meant was that every single thing in our environment, from the air to the furniture to the light, has an effect on us. In modern times, we're constantly being bombarded by external stimuli. The world around us never stops moving. But when it comes to sleep, we need to create a sense of calm, a sanctuary that allows our mind and body to relax fully. Think about the difference between a cluttered room and one that's neat and organized. A messy room can feel chaotic, and that chaos often transfers to our minds. You might find it harder to unwind when you're surrounded by visual noise, piles of clothes, papers, or even the lingering glow of your phone. But when you create a calm, organized space, your mind follows suit. The act of decluttering your environment is like decluttering your thoughts. The less you have to visually process, the more you can focus on the peaceful sensations of rest. Imagine yourself now, lying in your bed, the room around you quiet and still. The walls are calm, the bed is made, and there's no distracting clutter. In that peaceful space, it's easier for your body to settle into rest, and for your mind to stop its constant churning. This is something we often overlook, yet the physical environment plays a huge role in our ability to fall asleep. Research shows that the state of our environment directly impacts our sleep quality. A cluttered, overstimulating space can make it more difficult to relax. On the other hand, a clean, quiet, and calming room encourages deep, restorative sleep. A good sleep environment is not just about removing distractions. It's about creating an atmosphere that feels peaceful and supportive. Think about the lighting in your room. Soft, dim lighting, perhaps from a lamp or a candle, can signal to your brain that it's time to wind down. Bright overhead lights or the harsh glow from your phone can disrupt your body's natural sleep signals. By dimming the lights or using warm, soft lighting, you create a gentle transition from wakefulness to rest. This is the same principle the Stoics used in their practices of daily reflection and evening rituals. Just as they believed that the right environment for the mind could foster peace, the right environment for the body could foster rest. But there's more to this than just the physical space. There's an emotional component to the environment you create for yourself. A space that feels comforting and safe has a profound effect on how you relax. This isn't just about lighting or cleanliness. It's about how you feel when you enter the room. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt more at ease? That's the result of creating an environment that aligns with your need for peace. On the flip side, have you ever tried to sleep in a room that felt cold, impersonal, or even stressful? Perhaps it was too bright, too noisy, or too cluttered, and you found it difficult to relax. The space we sleep in isn't just a room, it's a reflection of how we treat our need for rest. If we want to create a space that supports good sleep, we need to pay attention to how it feels emotionally. For example, you might want to add some personal touches to your room that make it feel comforting. soft blankets, pillows, or calming colors. When you surround yourself with things that bring you peace, you're also surrounding yourself with the conditions that make sleep more inviting. Think of it this way. The bedroom should be your haven, a space where you can escape the world's noise and pressures. Here's an interesting fact. Japanese culture has long emphasized the importance of a peaceful sleeping environment, and they've developed practices around creating an ideal space for rest. In Japan, they have a tradition of using futons, which are laid directly on tatami mats. These futons are lightweight and easy to fold up during the day, which allows the space to remain clear and open. The idea behind this is simple. By keeping the room open and uncluttered, the mind is given space to breathe too. The futon itself is minimalistic, yet comfortable, which creates a feeling of simplicity and serenity. This is in line with the Zen philosophy of finding peace in the ordinary and the minimalist. You don't need extravagant furniture or elaborate decorations. All you need is a space that feels comfortable, functional, and free of distractions. The lesson here is that simplicity and minimalism are powerful tools for creating an environment that supports rest. Just like how you would clear your mind before bed, clearing your physical space can help create a sense of calm that signals to your body and mind that it's time to relax. Philosophers still argue about how much external factors like environment impact our mental states. Some believe that we should be able to find peace regardless of where we are. But the majority of thinkers, from the Stoics to modern-day researchers, recognize the undeniable link between our environment and our mental health. In fact, even the Stoics themselves understood the importance of creating a space for reflection and rest. While they didn't have our modern tools for relaxation, they certainly understood the value of solitude, peace, and simplicity. They practiced stillness and reflection, and they believed in surrounding themselves with simplicity and comfort to allow their minds to rest and reset. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, would often retreat into his own space, reflecting on his day and grounding himself in solitude. The Stoics believed in not just physical strength but mental resilience, and creating the right environment, both in terms of space and attitude, was an essential part of this. So tonight, as you prepare for sleep, think about the space around you. Is it a place that nurtures rest? Is it a sanctuary for your mind and body? You don't have to completely redecorate or overhaul your room, but simple changes can have a profound impact. Try dimming the lights, reducing the noise, and letting go of clutter. Create a calm, peaceful environment where you can let go of the day's distractions. In that space, your mind will find it easier to settle, and your body will feel more comfortable. The environment you create for yourself is an important part of how you rest, and when you treat it with intention, you invite peaceful sleep into your life. As you lie here now, in this space, let yourself feel the comfort of the room around you. The softness of the bed, the calmness of the surroundings, the quiet atmosphere. All of these elements are working together to help you relax. Let your environment support you in this moment. Give yourself permission to rest fully. You've created a space for peace, and now it's time to embrace it. Let go of the day, let go of the clutter in your mind, and rest in the stillness. Your room, like your mind, is now a place of calm, ready to support you as you drift into sleep. Now that we've talked about creating a peaceful space, let's explore the fascinating idea of time, and more specifically, the illusion of time. Time is something we all wrestle with, especially when we're trying to fall asleep. Our minds race against the clock, stressing over what we still need to do or what we haven't accomplished yet. The pressure to get things done often follows us into the night, and this constant awareness of time keeps us from relaxing. But here's the twist. Time, as we experience it, might not be as real as we think it is. Philosophers, particularly the Stoics, have long debated the true nature of time, and their conclusions can help us find peace with our worries about it. You see, the Stoics believe that time is a human construct, a tool we use to organize our days and lives, but not necessarily an absolute force that governs us. In fact, Epictetus, one of the central figures in Stoicism, once said, "Don't waste your time on what is not in your control." What this really means is that the rush we feel against time, constantly checking the clock, Worrying about deadlines, feeling like we're running out of time, is often an illusion. The present moment is the only moment that truly exists. Tomorrow has not yet arrived and yesterday is gone. The Stoics understood that by focusing on the present, we could free ourselves from the oppressive weight of time and instead focus on what we can control, our actions and thoughts. This idea of time being fluid and subjective is an important one when it comes to sleep. When we get caught up in thinking about the passing hours, we unknowingly create stress for ourselves. We start thinking that we need to fall asleep by a certain time, or that if we don't sleep enough the next day, we'll be ruined. But what if you let go of the idea of time? What if instead of stressing about the clock, you simply let yourself be? This doesn't mean ignoring the need for sleep. It means relaxing into the present moment and allowing sleep to come naturally, without the pressure of watching the minutes tick by. Let's pause here for a second and consider the way we measure time in the first place. Clocks, watches, alarms, they've all been designed to segment our lives into neat little parcels. But time in its truest sense isn't divided into seconds, minutes, or hours. In fact, many ancient cultures didn't even measure time as we do today. The Egyptians, for example, used the sun's movement to mark the passing of time, while the Mayans had an entirely different way of looking at time, seeing it as a cyclical force rather than a linear one. Philosophers like Heraclitus believed that time was a constant flow, like a river that never stops. When you step into a river, the water you touch will never be the same again. It's always moving, always changing. And in a way, so is time. What does this mean for you lying here in your bed tonight? It means that the urgency you feel to fall asleep or wake up at a certain time is based on a man-made structure, not a universal truth. The present moment is all you have, and everything else is just a series of shifting moments, just like the water in that river. The more you try to control or force time, the harder it becomes to relax. But if you allow yourself to release the grip on time, you'll find that everything else, your thoughts, your worries, even your sleep, flows much more naturally. Think about it. How many times have you found yourself staring at the clock, waiting for sleep to come, only to find that the more you focus on the time, the harder it becomes to drift off? This is exactly what happens when we try to rush through life, always looking at the clock, always counting down the minutes. The more we focus on the passage of time, the more it controls us. But here's the liberating truth: when we let go of time, we stop fighting against it. We stop stressing about the next thing and simply allow ourselves to be in the moment. Sleep doesn't need to be rushed. The more you try to force it, the more elusive it becomes. Instead, embrace the stillness of the night and the calm of the present moment. Let your body fall into a natural rhythm, and let the sleep come when it's ready. You are not bound by the clock. The clock is a tool, but it is not your master. This concept of time, or rather the illusion of it, can also be linked to how we perceive stress and worry. When we think about the future or dwell on the past, we're essentially stepping outside of the present moment. Time, in this sense, becomes a source of anxiety. But when you focus on the now, when you allow yourself to be fully present, time loses its power over you. It becomes something that simply flows, rather than something you are always racing against. Tonight, as you lie here in bed, think about how often you've allowed time to be the thing that keeps you awake. Maybe you've thought about how much sleep you need or how little time you have left to rest. But what if you shifted your perspective? What if, instead of worrying about when sleep will come, you just let yourself be, trusting that it will arrive when the time is right? The more you release the idea of time, the easier it becomes to relax into sleep. Here's something interesting to consider. Have you ever noticed how time seems to slow down when you're not focused on it? It's like when you're doing something you enjoy, time flies by unnoticed. But when you're constantly watching the clock, waiting for time to pass, it feels like it drags on forever. This is a classic example of how our perception of time is deeply tied to our mindset. When you shift your focus from the clock to the present moment, you stop feeling like time is slipping away from you. You become immersed in the experience itself, and suddenly, time no longer holds you captive. As you settle deeper into relaxation, remember that time is a tool, not a master. The present moment is the only one that truly exists, and it's all you need to focus on right now. You're already where you need to be. The world will continue to turn, the hours will pass, and tomorrow will come. But tonight, let yourself be free from the tyranny of time. Let sleep come when it's ready, and let your body and mind rest in the peacefulness of now. Now let's shift gears a little and talk about something that is deeply intertwined with the idea of sleep and rest: the philosophy of rest itself. Sleep, in many ways, is not just a biological necessity. It's a deeply philosophical experience. In fact, philosophers have pondered the nature of sleep for centuries, contemplating its connection to wisdom, peace, and even understanding the universe. Sleep isn't just about recharging your body for the next day. It's also about connecting with a deeper part of yourself. Think of it this way: when you sleep, you're surrendering to the flow of life, letting go of everything that's within your conscious control. You're allowing your body and mind to do the work they need to do without interference, just like a leaf floating on a stream. And yet, we often struggle with this surrender. We want to control our sleep, to make it come when we want it, and force it into a neat little box. But sleep, like many things in life, can't be controlled. It's a natural rhythm that follows its own course. What the great thinkers like Aristotle, Nietzsche, and even the Stoics would argue is that we should not see sleep as a time when we are inactive or unproductive. In fact, many philosophical traditions view sleep as a necessary space for reflection, a time when our minds process the information we've absorbed during the day, when our body recovers, and when we have access to deeper wisdom and intuition. In a way, sleep is its own kind of philosophy. It's a space where we let go of the noise, the distractions, and the to-do lists. We stop striving, stop thinking, and just exist in the quiet stillness of the moment. This is the true art of rest. As you lie here, getting ready to drift off, to sleep, think about this. Sleep is not something to be feared or controlled. It is an opportunity for surrender and peace. When we think about rest in philosophical terms, it's not just a break from the demands of life. It's a chance to reconnect with ourselves on a deeper level. It's when we rest that we often get the clearest insights, the most profound moments of understanding, and the deepest sense of calm. The ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras believed that sleep was a bridge between the material world and the spiritual realm, a space where the mind could transcend the body and connect with a higher plane. Even modern thinkers like Carl Jung have argued that dreams and sleep are essential to our self-awareness and personal growth. In sleep, the conscious mind takes a step back, and the unconscious mind, often the realm of dreams, intuition, and creativity, takes center stage. So, when you sleep tonight, remember that it's not just a pause from the world. It's an active part of your growth, your well-being, and your connection to something deeper. You might not be aware of the work being done while you sleep, but your body is repairing itself. Your mind is processing emotions and thoughts, and your spirit is finding balance. It's this process of renewal that makes sleep not just a biological need, but a philosophical practice in itself. Now let's dive into the idea of rest from the Stoic perspective, because the Stoics had a fascinating way of looking at the things that we often take for granted, including sleep. They viewed rest as a necessary component of self-care, and they believed that the quality of your rest was directly tied to the quality of your life. In fact, Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, regularly wrote in his journal about the importance of quiet reflection and rest. He emphasized that to be truly effective in life, we must know when to take a step back, relax, and replenish our energies. The Stoics understood that even the busiest, most driven individuals needed to rest. The key, they said, was not to rest out of laziness or as a form of escapism, but as an essential practice for maintaining our inner strength and clarity. Rest, for them, was not an interruption to productivity. It was a form of productivity in and of itself. Think about it. When you don't rest, when you push yourself too hard, your mind becomes clouded, your body grows fatigued, and your overall well-being begins to deteriorate. But when you allow yourself time to rest, you create the conditions for better focus, better decisions, and a greater sense of calm. Sleep is not only an act of relaxation, it's an investment in your mental and physical health. By taking the time to rest properly, you're setting yourself up for a clearer mind, a stronger body, and greater resilience in the face of life's challenges. As you lie in bed now, preparing to embrace the peace of sleep, think about this ancient idea of rest as not just physical, but philosophical. Sleep is more than just a break from the demands of life. It is an essential part of being able to handle those demands effectively. It's not just about recharging your batteries. It's about allowing your body and mind to reset and recalibrate. The Stoics believed that life's challenges are inevitable, but how we respond to those challenges is what matters. And a big part of responding wisely and effectively is making sure we're well-rested, clear-headed, and physically strong. By resting well, you prepare yourself for the ups and downs of life. And this kind of rest isn't just about sleeping long hours. It's about sleeping deeply and peacefully without distractions, without racing thoughts. It's about allowing your body to recover, your mind to reset, and your spirit to rejuvenate. Tonight, as you settle into your bed, let go of the demands of the day and embrace the gift of rest. Give yourself permission to sleep deeply without pressure, without worry. Trust that by resting, you're preparing yourself for the challenges ahead, just as the Stoics would have advised. Let's also consider the role of reflection in sleep. Sleep is not just about turning off your mind and shutting down. It's an active process of letting go, of surrendering to the natural rhythm of your body and mind. Philosophers like Seneca, another Stoic figure, encourage daily reflection, taking time at the end of the day to think about what went well, what could be improved, and how to approach tomorrow with clarity and purpose. This practice of reflection is not just about self-criticism, it's about gaining insight into yourself, into your actions, and into your overall state of being. When you rest, you give your mind the space to process all of this, to consolidate thoughts, and to come to a place of inner peace. This doesn't mean that every night should be filled with deep philosophical musings. It simply means that by resting, you allow your mind to do the necessary work of reflection, which leads to greater clarity and wisdom in the long run. So tonight, as you lay here, know that sleep is not just a biological necessity, but a profound philosophical act. By allowing yourself to rest deeply and peacefully, you're engaging in an ancient practice of self-care, growth, and wisdom. Embrace the stillness. Surrender to the rhythm of your breath. Allow sleep to come naturally, without pressure or expectation, and trust that, through this act of rest, you're giving your mind, body, and spirit the space they need to grow, reset, and find peace. As we continue our journey through this peaceful, reflective space, let's dive into something that connects deeply with our ability to relax and, ultimately, to fall asleep. The power of thoughts. We don't often realize how much our thoughts shape the quality of our sleep, but the mind is incredibly influential in this process. It's as if our thoughts are the gatekeepers to the sleep we desire. If the gate is filled with worry, anxiety, and tension, sleep is much harder to come by. If, however, we manage to let go of those thoughts, the gate swings wide open and sleep comes in freely. But here's the thing. Your thoughts don't just randomly pop up in your head. They're often shaped by what you've experienced throughout the day, the mental patterns you've created over time, and the way you've learned to handle stress and emotions. What's fascinating about this is that, as you settle into bed tonight, you have the power to shift your mindset, to consciously decide what kind of thoughts you want to welcome and what thoughts you'd prefer to let drift away. It's not about completely silencing your mind, but about creating a space where your mind can relax, wander, and ease into the quiet of sleep. The ancient Stoics, particularly Epictetus and Seneca, spoke frequently about the influence of our thoughts. They emphasized that while we cannot always control external events, we can control how we respond to them. This includes our thoughts about the world, our feelings about ourselves, and of course our worries about the future. Tonight, as you lay in your bed, take a moment to consider how your thoughts are affecting your rest. Are they calming or chaotic? Are they focused on the present moment or on something from the past or future? The beauty of the Stoic mindset is that it allows you to notice these thoughts, to observe them, and to gently guide them toward calmness without judgment. The key is awareness. If your thoughts start to race or become intrusive, simply notice them. Don't engage with them or try to push them away. Just observe them as they come and go like clouds passing through the sky. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. This simple shift in perspective can bring a sense of peace, allowing your mind to slow down and make space for the restful sleep you deserve. But let's break this down further. Why do we even have these racing thoughts when we're trying to sleep? The answer lies in something called the hyperarousal state, a phenomenon where your brain stays alert, even when your body is physically tired. This is a survival mechanism that served our ancestors well, allowing them to stay vigilant in the face of danger. But in the modern world, this hyperarousal often gets triggered by stress, anxiety, or overstimulation, and instead of protecting us, it keeps us from resting. The irony is that by trying to do something about our thoughts, we only make them stronger. When you lay in bed, desperately trying to silence your mind, the thoughts only become more persistent, louder, and harder to escape. But the Stoics taught us that resistance is often the root of the problem. The more we fight against something, the more energy we give it. Instead, they suggested something simple: acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving in to your thoughts. It means allowing them to exist without getting caught up in them. By practicing acceptance, you create space for peace to settle in. You create space for sleep to arrive without the pressure of trying to control it. It's like holding a glass of water. If you try to forcefully hold the water in place, it will spill. But if you let go, if you stop resisting, the water remains still. One quirky thing about sleep that philosophers have observed over the years is that the more we try to control it, the less likely we are to fall asleep. This is part of what's often referred to as sleep anxiety, the pressure we place on ourselves to sleep in order to feel rested or productive the next day. In fact, many modern sleep experts believe that anxiety about sleep can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we stress about how long it's taking to fall asleep, the more we amplify the problem. What's fascinating is that this pattern can be traced back to ancient philosophy. The Stoics, who had little in the way of modern psychology or sleep studies, were keenly aware of the impact that our mindsets have on our well-being. They recognized that unnecessary tension, whether from trying to control external events or from internal mental noise, was a major roadblock to peace. In fact, they encouraged people to shift their focus away from external outcomes and back toward what was in their control, their actions and reactions. The Stoics were particularly aware of the power of perception. When you perceive something as a problem, your body and mind react to it accordingly. But when you shift your perception, when you see something as an opportunity or simply as it is, nothing more, nothing less, your entire experience changes. This is why, when it comes to sleep, the Stoic approach is so powerful. It's about letting go of the need to sleep and instead embracing the moment. When you stop chasing sleep, it often finds its way to you naturally. Let's take a moment to focus on what we can do to shift our perception and create a peaceful state of mind that promotes restful sleep. One thing that can help is to create a bedtime ritual, a series of calming practices that help signal to your body and mind that it's time to wind down. This can include activities like reading, writing, gentle stretches, or even listening to calming music. These rituals, when practiced consistently, can serve as reminders that sleep is not something we must force or chase. It is simply the natural conclusion to a day that has been lived fully. What's important is that the ritual is not something you must do. It's something you choose to do because it helps you relax. It's a way to signal to your mind that it's time to let go, to surrender, and to allow the body to rest. The Stoics had their own version of a nightly ritual, reflection. Before they went to sleep, they would review their day, considering what went well and what could be improved. This wasn't about self-criticism, it was about gaining clarity and preparing the mind for the rest it needed. You might not want to adopt the same practice, but the underlying principle is useful. Having a calming, intentional practice before bed helps ease the transition from wakefulness to sleep. So tonight, as you settle into bed, try focusing on your breath, practicing mindfulness, or reflecting on the positive things in your day. Let these peaceful thoughts fill your mind and release anything that is unnecessary. The way you think about your sleep is crucial. It's not just about shutting down and going to bed. It's about embracing the idea that sleep is a natural, essential part of life. When you give yourself permission to relax into the process without judgment or expectation, sleep comes more easily. You are, in essence, training your mind to see rest not as something you have to force, but as something you can simply allow. And as you practice this over time, it becomes easier to let go, easier to rest, and easier to slip into that peaceful state where your body and mind can fully recharge. So tonight, as you focus on your breath and let go of any lingering thoughts, remember that sleep is your natural state. Your body knows how to rest. All you have to do is trust the process and allow yourself to surrender. Now, let's explore a deeply calming practice that can shift the way you experience not only sleep, but the entire rhythm of your life. Gratitude. At first glance, gratitude might seem like just another feel-good idea, a buzzword that's often tossed around. But when practiced with intention, gratitude has the power to transform the way we view our world, our experiences, and ultimately, our rest. The Stoics, especially figures like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, frequently spoke about gratitude as one of the key virtues that lead to a peaceful mind. They recognize that by focusing on what we have instead of what we lack, we shift our perspective and create space for peace. When we enter our lives with an attitude of gratitude, we stop fixating on everything that's wrong or out of our control. Instead, we focus on the blessings we already have, the simple, often overlooked moments that can bring us deep satisfaction. For instance, tonight as you lie in bed, think about the comfort of your pillow, the warmth of your blanket, the quiet of the night, and the soft sound of your breath. These are the things that we so often take for granted. But when we take a moment to truly appreciate them, we start to see the world differently. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It's about cultivating a mindset that allows us to connect with the good in our lives. Even in the midst of stress, hardship, or uncertainty, this is where the practice of gratitude intersects beautifully with sleep. When we approach the night with gratitude, we begin to see sleep as a gift rather than a luxury or a necessity. Sleep isn't something we force ourselves into or feel guilty about. It's a natural rhythm that nourishes our mind, body, and spirit. By framing sleep as an opportunity for renewal, rather than a requirement we struggle to meet, we begin to let go of the anxiety that often comes with the idea of rest. The Stoics believed that by practicing gratitude, we find contentment in whatever comes our way. Whether our day was filled with success or challenges, gratitude allows us to find peace with what is. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, think about all the things, big or small, that you can feel grateful for. Maybe it's the fact that you're in a safe space, in a comfortable bed, or that you have the opportunity to rest and recharge. Even if your day has been difficult, find one thing that you can appreciate. This simple act of acknowledging the good in your life shifts your focus from what you don't have to what you do. And as you continue practicing this, you'll find that gratitude has a profound effect on your sense of peace and relaxation, not just at night, but throughout the day. The interesting thing about gratitude is that it's contagious. When you start to notice the things you're grateful for, your perspective shifts. What was once an ordinary part of your day, like the warmth of a cup of tea or the sound of rain outside, becomes something precious, something to appreciate. This shift is incredibly powerful because it encourages mindfulness. Gratitude keeps us grounded in the present, rather than lost in thoughts about the past or future. When we focus on what we have, we start to realize that there's so much to be thankful for right now. And in the context of sleep, this gratitude can help quiet the racing thoughts that often keep us awake. Instead of worrying about tomorrow or replaying moments from today, we can simply focus on the quiet beauty of the present moment. We can appreciate the soft sensation of the sheets against our skin, the comfort of our body resting, and the gentle rhythm of our breath. Now, let's dive a bit deeper into the science of gratitude and its impact on sleep. Research has shown that practicing gratitude can significantly reduce feelings of anxiety and stress, two major factors that interfere with sleep. One study found that people who kept gratitude journals, writing down things they were thankful for each day, reported higher levels of well-being and better sleep quality. The act of writing down what we're grateful for shifts our brain's focus away from stressors and creates positive neural pathways that promote relaxation and calm. Gratitude, therefore, acts as a mental reset, helping us break free from the cycle of worry and anxiety that often keeps us awake at night. But it doesn't just work in the moment. Over time, cultivating gratitude changes the way we perceive the world. Instead of viewing challenges as burdens, we begin to see them as opportunities for growth. Instead of fearing the unknown, we learn to embrace uncertainty with trust, knowing that we can navigate whatever comes our way. This mindset is incredibly empowering, and it's one of the core philosophies that the Stoics practiced. By training our minds to focus on the good, to find peace in the present, and to appreciate everything life offers, we begin to experience greater resilience and peace of mind, both of which are essential for restful sleep. Gratitude also enhances our overall well-being, which directly affects our ability to sleep. When we are thankful for what we have, our bodies respond by releasing neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, both of which promote feelings of happiness, calm, and relaxation. These chemicals help regulate our sleep-wake cycle, making it easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. When we are in a state of gratitude, our body and mind are more aligned, and the tension that often keeps us awake starts to dissipate. This makes sleep feel more effortless, more natural. So tonight, as you prepare to close your eyes, try to bring your focus back to what you're grateful for. Maybe it's the simple fact that you have a bed to rest in, or that you've made it through another day. Even in the most challenging times, there's always something to be thankful for. Gratitude, then, becomes a tool not only for improving the quality of our sleep, but for transforming the way we engage with life itself. When we shift our focus from what's missing to what's abundant, we open the door to greater peace, rest, and relaxation. Now, I'd like to offer a simple practice for you to try tonight. As you lie in bed, think of 3 things you're truly grateful for. They don't have to be grand or life-changing. Perhaps it's the smell of fresh air, a kind gesture you received, or the comfort of your pillow. Take a moment to deeply feel your gratitude for these things. As you do, let your body relax further with each breath. Let the warmth of your gratitude settle into your body and mind, releasing any tension or stress. This practice of gratitude doesn't just prepare your mind for sleep, it prepares your soul for peace. By making gratitude a part of your nightly ritual, you create the conditions for sleep to come naturally, effortlessly, and peacefully. You invite rest into your life with open arms. So tonight, as you embrace sleep, embrace gratitude as well. Let it fill your heart, quiet your mind, and bring you the restful sleep you deserve. Tonight, let's explore the profound practice of letting go, especially as it relates to our ability to sleep deeply and peacefully. This concept, while seemingly simple, is incredibly powerful. We often carry with us a mountain of mental clutter, worries, regrets, past mistakes, future anxieties, and the weight of all this can keep us awake at night, tossing and turning. But what if we could learn to let go of all these burdens before we rest? What if, for just a few moments, we could truly release the things that don't serve us and allow ourselves the peace we deserve? The Stoics were masters at practicing detachment, not from people or life's experiences, but from the things we can't control, things like the opinions of others, external circumstances, and the future. Their practice of detachment was not about withdrawing from the world. Rather, it was about accepting that there is only so much we can do in a given moment. The rest, the things outside our grasp, are beyond our control. And this simple realization can help us release our attachments and enter a more peaceful, restful state. When we allow ourselves to let go of our attachment to thoughts and worries, we free up space for rest and sleep. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a busy street. If there's constant traffic, thoughts, worries, expectations, how can anything move freely? But when you let go of that traffic, when you stop pushing against the flow, the street becomes quiet, and everything flows naturally. Sleep is the same. When we let go of the stress, the guilt, the to-do lists, we create the space for sleep to come in, uninvited but welcome. As you lie here tonight, think about all the things you've been holding on to. Perhaps it's a stressful day, a conversation that left you unsettled, or a worry about what tomorrow holds. Imagine all of these things as weights, pulling you down, keeping you stuck. Now, with every breath you take, visualize yourself letting go of each weight one by one. Feel the weight lifting off your shoulders, your chest, your mind. Let go of the need to fix, control, or analyze. These things are not needed right now. The Stoics believed that true peace came from the ability to detach from everything that was not essential. They believed that in order to find true freedom, we must learn to let go of the things that bind us, whether that's worry, fear, or even our attachment to comfort and safety. For them, freedom wasn't about external circumstances. It was about how we responded to life. When we let go, we become free, and in this freedom, peace follows. Tonight, as you rest, let go of anything that has been weighing on your mind. You don't need to solve every problem or answer every question. You don't need to make everything perfect. What you need is rest, and for that, you must release the attachments that have been keeping you alert and restless. This is a practice, not a one-time event. It's something you can do every night, and over time it becomes easier. The more you practice letting go, the more natural it feels. And the more you practice, the more you realize that you have the power to choose what you carry with you and what you leave behind. In the quiet of the night, ask yourself, what is it that I'm holding on to that no longer serves me? What can I let go of? This could be a worry, a fear, a past mistake, or a future expectation. Imagine these things as clouds floating by in the sky, drifting away from you, leaving only the present moment. You can choose to release them. You can choose to focus on the peace that's available right now. Letting go of these attachments isn't about abandoning responsibility or giving up on important things. It's about freeing yourself from the unnecessary burdens that keep you from being at peace. When you let go, you allow yourself the mental space to relax fully and enter a peaceful state of rest. When you practice letting go, you allow yourself the opportunity to heal, to reset, and to wake up feeling renewed. Let's talk about another aspect of letting go that plays a huge role in sleep: forgiveness. Many times, we hold on to anger, resentment, or frustration, not realizing that these feelings keep us tethered to the past. These emotions can take root in our hearts and minds, weighing us down when we should be resting. The Stoics believed that holding on to anger was one of the greatest sources of internal turmoil. They taught that it's not the offense itself that causes us pain, but our response to it. In their view, when we hold on to resentment, we allow those negative emotions to control us rather than accepting what happened and releasing the hurt. Think about it. When you're angry or resentful, your mind is agitated, your body tenses up, and you're unable to relax. But when you choose to forgive, whether it's someone else or even yourself, you release that tension. You free your mind from the grip of those emotions. And just like that, sleep becomes easier. You don't carry that burden anymore. You've let go. You've chosen peace. So tonight, think about whether there's anyone you need to forgive. This includes yourself. Maybe it's a mistake you made, a conversation that didn't go the way you wanted, or a grudge you've been holding. The act of forgiveness isn't just for the other person. It's for you. It's a gift you give to yourself. When you forgive, you free yourself from the chains of resentment, and you allow yourself the peace of mind you deserve. As you lie in bed tonight, visualize yourself releasing any anger, resentment, or frustration you may have been holding on to. Feel the tension melt away with each breath, leaving space for calm, for peace, for rest. When we let go, we stop fighting with the past. We stop holding on to things that weigh us down. Instead, we allow ourselves to be present in this moment, where sleep can enter naturally and without struggle. The more you practice this process of letting go, the more effortless your sleep will become. As you settle into your bed tonight, remember this: you don't need to hold on to anything that disrupts your peace. Let it go. Release it. And in doing so, create the space for deep, restful sleep. The next time you feel yourself holding on to something, whether it's a worry, a grudge, or an expectation, remind yourself, this is not something I need to carry anymore. Let it go. And in that release, allow yourself to rest, fully and completely. Let's talk now about something that often becomes more difficult to embrace as the day goes on: the need to slow down. In a world that never seems to stop, where we are constantly bombarded with stimuli, tasks, and expectations, the ability to slow down is increasingly important. But what does it really mean to slow down? To many, it seems like the opposite of progress, as if by slowing down, we risk falling behind or missing out on the constant momentum of life. However, in reality, slowing down is essential for both our mental well-being and, importantly, for achieving restful sleep. The Stoics, with their emphasis on reflection, mindfulness, and intentional action, recognized the importance of slowing down to regain clarity. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, often wrote about the need to step back, reflect, and take a deep breath before reacting to life's challenges. He believed that by slowing down and pausing before responding, we could ensure that our actions were rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. This idea is especially important when it comes to preparing for sleep. How many times have you found yourself lying in bed, mind racing, still processing the events of the day, feeling like you're too wired to rest? In these moments, the best thing we can do is slow down. Take a deep breath, ground yourself in the present, and allow your body to settle before sleep takes over. It's about creating a space of calm and stillness, something that the Stoics were experts at cultivating in their daily lives. By slowing down, we signal to both our minds and bodies that it's time to transition into rest, rather than rushing toward a state of tension and unrest. The first step in slowing down is acknowledging that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause. Life doesn't always need to be a sprint. And in fact, it's in those moments of stillness that we find the clarity and peace needed for deep sleep. So tonight, before you close your eyes, take a few moments to consciously slow down. This isn't about rushing through the end of your day or forcing yourself to sleep. It's about allowing your body and mind to release the tension of the day, to let go of the hurry, and to gently ease into rest. A good place to start is with your breath. Simply focus on each inhale and exhale. Breathe deeply, slowly, and consciously. Let each breath ground you in the present moment. This practice doesn't have to be long or complicated. It's just about creating that space of calm, where you can let go of the rush and make room for peace. The act of slowing down signals to your body that it's safe to relax and let go. It's a way of telling yourself that you don't need to be anywhere else but here, in this moment, in this bed, with nothing to do but rest. This simple act of slowing down is in itself an invitation to let sleep enter naturally. It's a reminder that we don't need to force or chase sleep. It comes when we make space for it. When we slow down, we give ourselves permission to be still, to pause, and to breathe in the calm that surrounds us. Another way to slow down, particularly at night, is to establish a peaceful pre-sleep routine. This routine acts as a signal to your body that it's time to transition from the demands of the day to a more relaxed state. It could be something as simple as dimming the lights, stretching gently, reading a few pages of a book, or even listening to calming music. The key here is consistency. By setting aside time to slow down before sleep, you train your body and mind to associate this ritual with rest, and it becomes easier to enter a relaxed state. The Stoics often spoke of the importance of ritual, not just for cultivating wisdom, but also for bringing a sense of order and calm to the day. When you build a ritual of slowing down, you create a structured way to transition into sleep, allowing your body to understand that it's time for peace. Think of it as a signal that tells your mind, the day is over, it's time to rest. Slowing down isn't about doing less, it's about being present. It's about taking a moment to pause, breathe, and allow yourself to let go of the constant push forward. By slowing down, you not only prepare yourself for restful sleep, but you also cultivate a deeper sense of mindfulness in your daily life. In a world that constantly encourages us to rush, slowing down becomes a radical act of self-care. It's an acknowledgement that we don't need to be in constant motion to be productive or worthy. We are enough, just as we are, and we deserve the peace that comes with slowing down. If you find yourself struggling with this concept, think about how the world around you slows down when it gets dark. Nature itself has a rhythm of rest, a rhythm that we are all connected to. As the sun sets, the world transitions into night. This natural slowing down is reflected in the way our bodies also wind down, signaling that it's time to rest. By aligning ourselves with this natural rhythm, we can tap into a deeper sense of peace and tranquility. So, tonight, as you settle into your bed, consciously slow down. Release the mental clutter and physical tension of the day. Allow your breath to become slower, deeper, and more relaxed. Focus on the present moment and trust that, as you slow down, sleep will naturally follow. You don't need to chase it or force it. It's already there, waiting for you to make space for it. When you slow down, you invite peace, rest, and restoration into your life. And in that peace, you'll find the deep, rejuvenating sleep that you deserve. Tonight, let's dive into the idea of living without constant striving, a concept that has deep roots in philosophy and is essential for finding true peace, especially when we're preparing to sleep. The world around us is built on the idea of ambition and achievement. We're told that we must constantly push forward, that success comes from never stopping, and that rest is only for those who've earned it. This idea is ingrained in the way we live our lives. We're always on the go, constantly trying to reach the next milestone, finish the next task, or climb the next rung of the ladder. But here's the thing. What if the key to peace, to sleep, and to true fulfillment isn't in the constant drive forward, but in the ability to be content with where we are? The ancient Greek philosopher Epictetus believed that true happiness comes not from material wealth or accomplishments, but from simple pleasures and contentment with the present moment. He suggested that by stepping back from the constant chase for more, we allow ourselves to fully experience the joy of what we already have. This idea of living without constant striving is incredibly liberating because it frees us from the relentless cycle of pursuit. When we stop chasing after something, whether it's success, recognition, or a future goal, we allow ourselves to experience the peace that comes with simply being. This peace is crucial when it comes to sleep. How often do we lie in bed, our minds racing with everything we still need to do, everything we've yet to accomplish? We think that sleep will come when we've done enough. But this kind of thinking keeps us trapped in a cycle of never feeling truly rested. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, also emphasized the importance of contentment. They believed that true peace comes from understanding that our value isn't tied to external achievements but to how we respond to life. It's about accepting where we are right now, not constantly striving to be somewhere else. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't have goals or aspirations. It simply means that we must learn to find peace in the present, even as we work toward the future. When we are constantly striving, we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to rest. Our minds are always thinking about what's next, what we haven't done, or what we should be doing. But when we embrace contentment and allow ourselves to be at peace with where we are, we can step away from that constant rush and experience true rest. Think about this. When you lie in bed at night, instead of focusing on everything you haven't accomplished, try to focus on everything you have already done. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for what you've experienced today and give yourself permission to rest. This is how the Stoics approached life. They didn't view each day as a checklist to be completed, but as an opportunity to live fully, regardless of the outcome. Tonight, as you settle into your bed, release the need to achieve. Let go of the feeling that you must do more, be more, or have more in order to be worthy of rest. You are enough as you are, in this moment. Your value isn't tied to what you've accomplished today or what you will accomplish tomorrow. By embracing this mindset, you give yourself the space to rest deeply, without the weight of unfulfilled expectations. You allow sleep to come naturally, because you're no longer caught in the cycle of striving. But how do we get to a place of contentment, especially in a world that constantly tells us we need more? The answer lies in cultivating mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. It's about experiencing life as it is, without constantly trying to change it or make it better. When we practice mindfulness, we stop focusing on the future or the past, and instead, we focus on the here and now. We accept the present moment as it is without the need for anything more. This practice can be incredibly calming, especially before sleep. If you find yourself lying in bed, unable to quiet your mind, take a few moments to practice mindfulness. Focus on your breath, your body, the sounds around you. Instead of judging yourself for not falling asleep, simply notice what's happening in the present moment. Observe your thoughts, but don't get attached to them. Allow them to come and go like clouds in the sky. By practicing mindfulness, you train your mind to relax and let go of the need to control. You allow your body to fall into a natural rhythm, without the pressure of striving. Another aspect of this idea of living without constant striving is the importance of embracing simplicity. In today's world, we're often told that we need more possessions, more experiences, more success, more recognition. But the Stoics believed in the beauty of simplicity. They understood that true happiness doesn't come from accumulating more, but from appreciating the simple things in life. The more we add to our lives, the more complicated and stressful they become. But when we embrace simplicity, we can find peace in the everyday moments. This applies to sleep as well. When we stop complicating our nights with worries and expectations, we allow ourselves to experience the simplicity of rest. When you lie in bed tonight, try to embrace the simplicity of the moment. There's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to achieve. You can simply rest, breathe, and be. Let go of the need to strive for anything more. Allow yourself to feel content with where you are. This simple practice of embracing contentment and simplicity can help quiet your mind, ease your body, and make sleep come more easily. The more you practice letting go of the need for more, the more you will realize that peace and rest are not things to be earned, but things to be embraced in the present moment. You are enough, just as you are, and rest will come naturally when you allow yourself to slow down, let go, and be at peace with the present. The pursuit of peace comes not through constant striving, but through allowing yourself to simply rest in the moment, appreciating what you have, and trusting that you are enough. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, let go of the need to achieve. Let go of the expectation to do more. Instead, embrace contentment, simplicity, and mindfulness, and allow sleep to come naturally as a peaceful companion at the end of your day. You deserve to rest without the weight of constant striving. As we near the final stretches of this peaceful journey, let's explore a fascinating concept that might sound counterintuitive, but is incredibly useful when it comes to restful sleep: the power of acceptance. You might think that acceptance is passive, that it's about giving up or resigning yourself to something unpleasant. However, in the context of both sleep and life, acceptance is actually an active and empowering choice. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus, championed the idea of accepting the things we cannot control. They believed that peace comes from recognizing the limits of our power, and then choosing to focus on what we can influence: our thoughts, reactions, and attitudes. Acceptance in this sense isn't about giving up control or letting things happen to you without taking action. Instead, it's about releasing the grip on things that are beyond your control, which often gives you more control over how you respond. When it comes to sleep, this idea is especially powerful. How many times have you laid awake at night, fighting the urge to sleep, wishing that you could just fall asleep faster, only to find that the more you fight it, the more elusive it becomes? This is the paradox of sleep. The more we strive for it, the harder it is to attain. But when we practice acceptance, when we stop trying to force sleep and allow ourselves to simply rest, we often find that sleep comes more easily. This is where the Stoic idea of amor fati, or love of fate, comes into play. By accepting the moment as it is, whether you're lying awake or already dozing off, you free yourself from the pressure of needing everything to be perfect. The Stoics believed that everything, even hardships, could be embraced as a part of life's flow, a necessary part of the greater whole. In this context, Even sleeplessness can be accepted as a natural part of the human experience. The more you let go of the need for sleep to happen on your terms, the more likely you are to experience the deep rest you're seeking. Acceptance in the context of sleep also involves letting go of judgments about ourselves and our experiences. How often do we lie in bed and criticize ourselves for not being able to sleep, or for not being good enough at sleeping? This judgment creates a cycle of frustration and stress that keeps us awake even longer. But what if you simply allowed yourself to be exactly where you are without judgment? What if, instead of labeling your sleeplessness as bad or wrong, you simply accepted it as part of the process? By practicing acceptance in these moments, you take the pressure off yourself, which often leads to a deeper state of relaxation. The Stoics would encourage you to observe your thoughts without attaching meaning to them, and this applies beautifully to your experience of sleep. If you're awake, notice it. If you're restless, simply observe the sensation without labeling. It is something that needs to be fixed. Acceptance is a profound way of allowing things to be as they are, which ultimately brings peace. The more you practice acceptance in your sleep routine, the easier it becomes to let go of resistance and fall into a natural rhythm of rest. This is not about giving up or passively waiting for sleep to come. It's about consciously choosing not to fight against the flow of life, including the flow of sleep. Another powerful aspect of acceptance is embracing the imperfections of life, and more specifically, the imperfections of our own mental and physical states. Often we think that in order to sleep well, we need to feel perfectly relaxed, calm, and at peace. However, the reality is that it's rare for our minds to be completely still. Thoughts come and go. Tension arises in the body. But this doesn't mean that sleep is out of reach. In fact, it's precisely in accepting these imperfections that we can find peace. Think about it. The more you try to control your thoughts or force your body into a state of perfect relaxation, the more you create tension. The more you try to be completely relaxed, the more you find yourself restless. But by accepting that your mind will wander, that your body might be a little tense, you can relax into the experience of being human. You're not trying to make everything perfect. You're simply allowing it all to be exactly as it is. Acceptance of the imperfections of sleep can bring tremendous relief. You don't need to be good at sleeping. You don't need to be in the perfect environment. You don't need to have all your thoughts perfectly in order. You simply need to rest in the present moment as it is. This act of accepting the imperfection of sleep can free you from the pressure of trying to do it right, which ultimately creates the space for sleep to flow naturally. The more we release the need for perfection, the easier it is to find peace with what we have and where we are. Sleep doesn't require perfection. It simply requires you to be at peace with the present moment. It's also important to note that acceptance doesn't mean you have to give up on making improvements. In fact, the act of accepting things as they are opens the door for growth. When we stop resisting, we become more attuned to what's actually happening. For instance, if you've been struggling with sleep, acceptance might mean acknowledging that you've had trouble falling asleep lately without getting frustrated with yourself. It might mean recognizing that there's room for improvement, but without attaching shame or guilt to the experience. Acceptance isn't about complacency. It's about acknowledging the present reality without judgment, and then making intentional choices from a place of calm and clarity. It's from this space of acceptance that true change can occur. As you continue to practice acceptance, you'll notice that you become more resilient and better equipped to deal with whatever challenges arise, both in sleep and in life. The Stoics understood that it's not the challenges themselves that determine our peace, but how we respond to them. By accepting the challenges that come with sleep, whether it's difficulty falling asleep, waking up during the night, or dealing with restless thoughts, you begin to reclaim your power and your peace. Finally, acceptance also involves the idea of surrendering to the flow of life. There's a certain beauty in surrendering to the present moment, knowing that you're not in control of everything. You can't force sleep to come. You can't control the rhythm of your breathing or the speed of your thoughts, but you can surrender to the process, allowing your body and mind to naturally relax. This surrender is a peaceful act. It's not about giving up, but about trusting that your body knows what it needs and that sleep will come in its own time. This practice of surrendering to the flow of life can extend beyond sleep. It's a reminder that we don't need to control every aspect of our lives. The more we practice surrender, the more we can embrace the calm and peace that's always available to us. Tonight, as you lie down to sleep, try practicing the art of surrender. Surrender to the flow of your thoughts. Surrender to the sensations of your body as it relaxes into rest. Surrender to the fact that sleep will come when it's ready. And in doing so, you'll find a deep sense of peace that makes sleep effortless and natural. As we move into the final section of our peaceful journey, let's focus on something incredibly essential to the process of deep rest: the quieting of the mind. It's one of the most elusive and yet necessary aspects of sleep, especially in a world that demands constant mental engagement. Our thoughts, whether they're concerns, worries, or to-do lists, often keep us awake at night, turning over in our minds like an unending loop. But what if we could quiet that mental noise even for just a few moments and create the space for peace and rest? The ancient Stoics believed that much of our suffering comes from our own thoughts. They argued that we often get caught up in narratives that aren't real, in fears that haven't materialized, and in worries that don't deserve our attention. In the context of sleep, this idea is especially relevant. Our minds can be like a busy marketplace, full of distractions, bustling with thoughts and loud with emotions. But just as we can quiet a busy marketplace with intention and focus, we can quiet our minds before sleep by cultivating mindfulness and stillness. The Stoics practiced a form of mental discipline where they consciously turned their thoughts away from distractions and focused only on what was within their control. For them, peace of mind came not from suppressing thoughts, but from recognizing that our thoughts do not define us. We are not our worries, nor are we the sum of all the things our minds constantly churn through. When we learn to step back and observe our thoughts without judgment, we begin to experience a stillness that is incredibly liberating. This is exactly the practice we need for sleep: mindfulness. The ability to observe our thoughts without getting attached to them, to watch them pass by like clouds in the sky without latching onto them. When you find yourself lying in bed with your mind racing, simply observe it. Watch the thoughts come and go. Don't try to stop them. Just acknowledge them and let them drift away. The more you practice this, the more natural it becomes to slip into a peaceful, quiet state. Sleep doesn't need to be forced. It simply needs the space to come naturally. And that space is created when we quiet the mind and let go of the endless cycle of thinking. But here's something interesting to think about. The more we try to control our thoughts, the more they seem to spiral out of control. This is a paradox that many people experience when trying to fall asleep. We tell ourselves, "I need to sleep now," and instantly, the pressure builds. The more we focus on the desire to sleep, the more we resist the natural flow of rest, and the more difficult it becomes to fall asleep. The Stoics, however, understood that true peace comes from letting go of the need to control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reminded himself that the key to tranquility was to accept the things he couldn't control and focus only on his actions and responses. When we apply this to sleep, it means letting go of the expectation of sleep, not striving for it and simply allowing it to come when it's ready. The Stoic mindset encourages us to practice acceptance, accepting the thoughts that come, accepting the feelings we experience, and accepting that sleep will come when it's time. This acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning to restless nights. It means trusting that sleep, like everything else in life, will come naturally when we stop forcing it. It's a practice of trust. Trust that your body knows how to sleep, that your mind will eventually quiet, and that rest is a natural, necessary part of life. When you practice acceptance in this way, you begin to let go of the internal chatter that keeps you awake. Another essential element of quieting the mind is focusing on the body. Have you ever noticed how your body feels when you're stressed or anxious? Your muscles tense, your heart rate increases, and your breath becomes shallow. When we focus solely on the mind, we neglect the body's need for relaxation. This is why the Stoics emphasized the interconnectedness of mind and body. They knew that mental peace could only be achieved when the body was also at rest. One of the most powerful tools to help quiet the mind and ease into sleep is the practice of progressive muscle relaxation. This technique involves intentionally relaxing different muscle groups one by one, starting with your toes and working your way up to your head. As you tense each muscle group for a few seconds and then release it, you send signals to your brain that it's time to relax. This physical relaxation helps to slow your heart rate, lower your stress levels, and prepare your body for the restful state that sleep requires. This technique not only helps you relax physically, but it also gives your mind something to focus on each muscle group, each breath. As you work your way through your body, it becomes easier to let go of mental distractions, and before you know it, your body and mind are aligned in the stillness of rest. Philosophers still debate whether sleep is a passive or active process. Some argue that sleep is merely the absence of wakefulness, while others believe that it's a more active state of restoration and rejuvenation. What's clear, however, is that sleep is an essential process for maintaining mental and physical health, and it's something that we can actively support by practicing mindfulness, letting go of stress, and cultivating a peaceful environment. Sleep, like all things in life, requires balance. It requires the ability to slow down, to focus, and to let go of unnecessary tension. When we create the right conditions, by quieting the mind, relaxing the body, and releasing our expectations, we allow sleep to unfold naturally. This is a practice, one that takes time and patience. But over time, as you continue to practice mindfulness and acceptance, you will find that sleep becomes a more effortless process. You'll no longer need to force it, chase it, or worry about it. You'll simply embrace it, knowing that it will come when it's time. As you prepare to close your eyes tonight, remember this: you are not your thoughts, and you are not your restlessness. You are the awareness that can observe those thoughts, that can release them, and that can create the space for peace to settle in. Quieting the mind doesn't mean shutting it down. It means letting it be, allowing the thoughts to come and go without judgment. It's about trusting that rest is already on its way, that your body and mind know how to rest, and that sleep will find you when you are ready. Trust the process. Let go. Surrender to the flow of rest, and let sleep take over naturally.